Today's 675th day to come here to lesson. Today's 675th day to come here to share lessons that learn. I'm learning. I hope this also supports your dreams. Your goals allow you to become the person that you want to become. Have you had a question, why is it so hard to build a skill set sometimes? It's so hard to build a skill. You just don't want to pursue that skill because it's so hard to start. And why is that? Why is it so hard to build a skill? I sometimes ask the question, why is it so hard to build a skill? And today I will really discuss, I will share 11 things why it's so hard to build a skill set and what you could potentially do to really make it a little bit easier. Because, to be honest, it's not easy to build skill set. But if you know that it's not easy and you get ready, prepare for it, and you work for it, what you're able to do? You're able to build any skill that you want. Because I truly believe that it doesn't matter what your talent is. What matters is how hard you're able to work to build a skill set. Now, of course, if you are a little bit more talented and you put that hard work in building a skill, you're able to achieve even tremendous success. Now, let's start the things. What is really holding us back from building a skill set? What is holding us back? And it doesn't allow to grow as fast as I'd love to, because we have said that we want to build a skill set in a month or two, and most time it ends up being 6 months, rather 2 months, because there's a lot of things that stops us from building a skill set. So number one is complexity. Most skills are very complex things. So there's 10 things that involves that one skill set. So that means that we need to start breaking down that one skill into small pieces and really challenge yourself to improve one small thing at a time. Because a lot of times when people pursue the complex things at the same time, most people feel overwhelmed. They feel frustrated, and they just leave altogether. But if you're able to focus on one small part of the skill, like let's imagine that you want to play soccer or volleyball, anything, just so many different aspects of the game, to be able to focus on those small aspects of the game, improve those, and then put together as a puzzle to make sure that you're able to improve the whole skill. Number two is time and practice. As I said, a lot of times people think that they will need 2 months to build a skill, but they need 6 of 2. And a lot of times it's very hard to build a skill because we do not have enough time to practice. It could be that we need to do something else, and it's very important to allocate time. And time is limitation. Time is a huge limitation, but you need to give yourself time to build it. Now, it's very important to understand that you need to ask yourself, are you willing to give up some hours from other parts of your life to be able to really give time necessary to build a skill set? Number three is, this is very important, this is plateaus and frustration. Number three, plateaus and frustration. Now, when you build a skill, a lot of times you reach some kind of plateau. You're stuck and stagnate in a location, and you think that you will not be able to overcome that plateau. And because of that, people start to get very frustrated. I'm working so hard, worked a month, and I didn't get any better. And what people do, probably this is not for me, and I will quit. And people quit on plateaus. Majority of the time, people quit on plateaus. People never stop at growth, for sure. Oh, I'm growing, I get better, and they have energized and they improve, and they get that plateau. And that plateau is most time to check how serious you are about growing, how serious about growth. Because a lot of times you are plateau because you just need to start moving to another growth trajectory. But if you will keep at it, you will be able to go through that plateau and, of course, achieve new records. Number four is fear of failure. That stops a lot of people, including myself. I know that I'm not any different. A lot of times people are struggling to build a skill because they are fearful. For example, public speaking. There's a huge fear of failure. People are afraid to speak in front of people, but they know that if you want to build a public speaking skill, what you need to do, you need to speak in front of people. But there's a huge fear speaking with people, and that fear of failure is stopping people to build that skill necessary to become the things that you want to be. Because fear of failure stops building a skill, and not having the skill stops you from living the lifestyle that you want to live. It's very, very important. Number five is lack of motivation. Lack of motivation. But one thing is that lack of motivation comes a lot of times with lack of energy. So that means that you need to increase your energy, and that energy will increase your motivation. Now, of course, if your motivation is low, what you need to do, you need to build your self-discipline, because when motivation weans off, self-discipline needs to kick in. So you need to work very hard on yourself, on your energy, create your more energy, because the more energy you have, the more motivation you have. And of course, you need less self-discipline, because when you use all of your self-discipline, a lot of times people quit. So lack of motivation is one of the things that really stops people from building this skill. Number 6 is resource limitations. And there's a lot of could be resource limitations. For example, if you want to play basketball, that means you need to have a ball, you need to have a basket, you need to have a place to play. So those could be limitations, even though that you will love to play, but you don't have resources to do that. If you want to have a mentor, that could be a limitation as well. So there are a lot of things that could be limitations, and we need to be resourceful and find different resources that potentially could really build the skills that you want. And I could tell that most people have some kind of resource issue, because we need to have time, we need energy, we need to have money, and a lot of times when you have all the money, you can buy a lot of things. And of course, you can reduce resources, but sometimes you don't have money. You need to be very resourceful and find the ways to really bring more resources into your life that you could build those skills that you need. Number 7 is very common is mental barriers. Mental barriers. Those are the things that most times stops people the most. Because if you don't have resources, if you have mental game in place and you know that why you're doing it, you will figure out things. But when mental barriers you are struggling with, it's very hard. It's very hard to really keep building your skill set when you have mental barriers. So then self-talk, self-doubt, feeling that you don't deserve, low self-esteem, all those things is really stopping you from really pursuing building a skill set. And that is one of the most important things to overcome. Because when you overcome your mental barriers, I truly believe that any kind of skill could be mastered when you're able to master your mental capacity. Number 8 is feedback guidance. Every single person, if he wants to move and improve very fast and very fast to grow the skill, they need to have a feedback. You need to have a guidance. So who do you have? And sometimes a lot of times people do not have a mentor, a guide, a coach, a teacher who could really review the things that you do and give the feedback, necessary feedback that you could adjust, pivot, and really move forward even faster than you are growing now. Number 9 is competing priorities. It could be that you are very good in a lot of different things and you will love to build multiple skill sets. But because you are good in multiple things, now you need to think, okay, so which one I need to build the most? Or maybe you say that you start building 5 skills at the same time. That means that those 5 hours that you couldn't allocate on one skill, now you allocate 1 hour to each. And of course, what happens? A lot of times you're not able to grow as fast as you could because you focusing on too many things at the same time. So that means you need to be okay to really understand which one skill will give the most result in a short period of time, work on that, and say which one of those goals that I want to pursue for the long-term vision, what kind of skill will allow me to achieve my long-term vision, and focus on that. And then, of course, when you focus one skill at a time, you build one expert level, you're able to generate income, you get more time because of that, and then you focus on other skills. So competing priorities is really stopping a lot of people from achieving great things and skills that they want to build. Number 10 is extra pressure. So when people are really building a skill set, sometimes there's a lot of different pressures. It could be because they're living in survival and they need to make money because otherwise they will not able to survive. And that's extra pressure that could really stop people from getting better at the skill that they want. It's very hard to really perform at survival and people barely surviving. And that extra pressure is making it difficult to build a skill. Sometimes being able to take care of all the things that people go through is allowed to build skill even faster. So of course, sometimes decision-making process is quite difficult when you want to really make sure that you are good in place and financially, at the same time you're able to build skills at any kind of skills that you want. And the last one, 11, that I have is changing techniques and technologies. Sports are changing, rules are changing, technologies are changing, always is changing. And that means sometimes it makes it difficult to build skill to the expert level, because when you already, it seems, oh, I already built at an expert level, I'm good. And then something changes, completely changes. Now because you were expert, now you become almost a beginner again. Because there's so many things change, you need to improve, get better. And of course, when you achieve expert level in any kind of skill, you know exactly what you need to do. Because I always say that it doesn't matter what kind of skill you pursue sometimes. What matters is being able to stick to it. Have confidence that you finished it. Because if you understand that you were able to build one skill, you have the confidence and you're able to build any other skill. Because if you never build any kind of skill, when you want to start pursuing skill, you have a lot of self-doubt. So it's better to focus on one thing and one thing only until you reach that very confident level in that one skill. And then when you have that, you're able to really pursue other skills that really could allow you to have and build the lifestyle that you want. At the same time, when you build skill sets, it just not just builds a skill set, it builds your character, because building a skill is a tough thing to do. So there's multiple things that you need to go through to be able to stick to it and make it happen. And when you build a skill, you need to understand that you will build not just skill, but yourself as a person as well. You build your character, leadership skills, and all other parts of your life. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.